Praise God. Ngai nĩ mwega na hĩndĩ ciothe. Tũngĩkĩũria mũndũ nĩ mwega rĩmwe na rĩmwe. And maybe that's why we so need this particular topic that we need to address today, identifying barriers so that we can be able to finish strong. Look at your neighbor, give them a high five. Angalia huyo mwingine, mwambie, you must have been a beautiful baby. Sijui mbona I'm feeling tempted to request tuseme abujubuju. Yeah? Lakini nikiona wakirigashao, najua ninaweza fungwa. Okay? So, nashukuru sana. Thank you so much, the entire team, led by our Reverend and Canon in absentia. Asante sana wanakwaya. The praise and worship, wamefanya kazi nzuri, sio? So you appreciate them. And Rose, Mungu anakupeleka mbali. In fact, as I was listening to how you led us today, I actually felt that you have done the work. Mimi hata nimemaliza kazi yangu. Because ni nani mwingine? Sini Yesu? Sini yawe. And especially when you're looking forward to such an amazing encounter, we'll be able to identify the barriers so that we can be able to finish the year strong. So my good name is Kagondu Jr. Gageshero Mwagi wa Kamau na Waja. And I'm a son of this church. I remember when we had the mbuzi the other day, Mr. Kahara na Neawa Monini, I appreciate you. Mena Ma Monini, Madam Eva. We were saying how we are the founders of the church. And when I look back, I just appreciate the Lord for the far that we have come. And as they say, they are the founding members. I'm also a founding member to either Sunday school, I'm a teenager, the teens department, I'm at the youth. Simunipikia kama kofi. And this is why I feel so much honored to be the one sharing the word today. It doesn't mean that I'm the most knowledgeable, nor am I the most blessed, but this is the favor of the Lord. On the day-to-day work, I'm a counseling psychologist. And I want to appreciate all the counselors in the room, and more so the health and wellness team. Feel appreciated for the good work that you're doing. I'm also a mentor to the young people, a corporate trainer. I'm also an author to an award-winning book called Becoming a Man. So for the men in the house, sijasema nyinyi si wanaume kamili, but it's for the sake of our young generation, more so for the ones who are finding themselves and trying to, nurture and work on their future. I'm also a founder of Mind Care Africa. It is a counseling center. In case you have some issues, life issues, we are the people to come to. Tuko tu hapa Thika. So hakuna fare na iko lift. Kwa hivyo usione kama utachoka sana kupanda 5th floor, room 508. I'm also running an institution called Mind Care Mika Training Institute. We do a lot of training on matters, counseling. If you feel that is your calling, we are the person that you need to come to. For the Form 4 leavers, wale wanamaliza, walete kwetu, and we'll be able to support them more so with the career guidance. That said and done, today's sermon is on identifying barriers of finishing strong. And I'm just looking at all of us, and I know that we could be having so many questions, and there could be one, if not two, who may be asking why they feel stuck at this very moment. There could be either one of you who is looking for love, mapenzi, ile majenzi wanasema lovotov, and it seems to be so far away. Others, we could be praying for your sick brother, if not child, and they don't seem to be getting well. I know there could be some who are also praying for their spouses, and they could be indulging in some addiction, say alcoholism. and you don't know how to get them out of it. And I know some of us will want also to get some accolades at the end of the year as one of the best performers at the workplace, but that doesn't seem to be. And I know some of us will be asking themselves whether the pain is worth. And if that is the case, this particular sermon is for you. Hallelujah. So we had two readings, one from the book of Mathew, and we were taken through the parable of the unforgiving servant. And we are told that Peter asked Jesus for a brother who keeps on sinning against him, how many times should we forgive him? Na akaelezwa, it's not even 7 times, it is 70 times 7. Na sijui kama umeketi hapo, how many times you have forgiven your brother, if not your sister, ama pia hata spouse wako. Pengine hata hii asubuhi hatuongeleshani, because maybe they served some cold meal yesterday night, ama chai pia ilikuwa mrefu, you know, and it feels a bit off. But we are saying that the king actually ended up forgiving a servant who pleaded, especially when he said that, you know, the money that I owe you, I don't have the capacity, and out of it, he was forgiven, though his belongings, his family was to be sold off. But this particular servant, on contrary, he ended up harassing one of his fellow servants. In fact, he did choke him up and even sending him to jail. But the king, upon hearing this, he had to punish this particular servant, remembering that he had forgiven him. And this is a reminder of how our Father in heaven is like. We are told to forgive from the heart. And I know some of us will be in a space where we are not even forgiving ourselves for the many wrongs that we have done in the past, the many mistakes that we have done in the past. Least, do we even forgive our kids, you know? Na tunajua tu ni watoto tu, sio? Okay? So we are told we should not miss out on the opportunity to finish strong, and we should learn how to forgive. The second reading came from the book of Judges, 6:11 to 40. And we are told of the narrative of Gideon, who fought against the Midianites. And I'm reminded that he actually wondered whether he had the capacity to rescue Israel, going back to their forefathers' times, where the Lord had promised that he would be for them. And he was feeling like the Lord has left them. And I remember he was even asking, show me a sign. And I know most of us seated here today are also asking our Lord to show us the sign, aren't we? Sio, tuone kama tutaweza kumaliza mwaka in the best way possible. And as much as, yes, he came from the weakest of the tribe, that is in the tribe of Manasseh, and he felt that he was least important in the family, like most of us feel like. At times we look down upon ourselves. The Lord reminds him that you don't even need 1,000 men, you know, to win. You only need how many? 300. And this is why it's not even how big you are, how educated you are. All that we need to remember is that the Lord can actually do it because the Lord is with us. For the accountants in the house, Raphael, today happens to be 16th November 2025, and we happen to commemorate a holiday that resonates so well with the topic, and it's called the International Day for Tolerance. This is a call for all of us to bounce back, especially when you are facing life issues, challenges that seems to be far away. On the same month of November, we call it No Shave November, especially for the men. Hatufai kunyoa, na ninaona wakili amefanya kazi mzuri, ameweka ndevu. So if you're seated next to a man, muulize ndevu ziko wapi. Because we appreciate the challenges that we go through as a people, and more so men, because we know that men, we contribute a lot to what is happening around. And I normally say that if we can work on ourselves, then the world can be a better place. So this particular day, 16th, it means that we are 319 days into the year. And that means only 45 days are remaining to the end of the year. Somehow around 87.4% is complete in terms of this particular year. And when you think about the numbers and that percentage, it means you and I are ripe enough to account for how the day and the year has been. Yet, some of us are not able to achieve our greatness, because I believe that there is greatness in all of us, because of the many barriers that we face, that will shape our lives in different ways, in different capacities. And wonder, I'm reminded that in the year 1963, the population of this country was 8.7 million people. And out of that population that was alive then, only 3 million are alive today. 75%, it is actually estimated that 75% of that population, they are not functional due to some life issues, talk about the stresses, and perhaps some negative coping mechanism. Meaning, only 25% of that population has some clear minds. They are clear-headed. Though not everybody is able to contribute in a good way towards the development of our society. So that means around 500 are proactive, especially in the corporate world. And I was looking at this, I was thinking of 60 years down the line. Na sijui Daktari Karanja tutakuwa wapi wakati huo, right? And the question would be, what will people say about us? When we look back, what will we say about the achievements, if not the failures that we could have made in life? Does it mean that there will be some barriers that will hinder us from achieving, excellence, being great? And of course, that will be. And some of the causes will be some of the past encounters that we have had. I know there are some who have gone through abuses. It could be emotional, it could be psychological, it could be physical. Nakumbuka tukisoma, kuna wengine nilisikia, lakini si wazazi wale wako hapa. Walikuwa nauliza watoto wao, sasa nimeuza ng'ombe, niende nisomeshe ng'ombe ingine, and that will really demoralize the young fellas, okay? Some of us were called Gima, because the head was so, thick, and you will not really comprehend. And that affected how you felt about you. I know some of us could be having some unrealistic goals. At the beginning of the year, we had New Year resolutions. Yet, kuna wengine pia wako na balance ya 2015. So 10 years down the line, they are still setting New Year resolutions. Others would be that they have lost a momentum towards achieving their dreams. Others could be going through some financial crisis. Others, it would be our friends, who I tend to call the energy vampires, draining a lot of energy from you. And this is why it's very important for you and I to account for the friends and the social circle that we keep. So, sijui Mr. Kahara mbugi yako ni nani? So, hiyo inafaa kuangalia mzuri, si ndio? Some, it could be their dysfunctional families that they come from. I know there could be some who don't remember the last time that they shared a meal as a family, or even walked together to the market as a family. Yet, that will be what we dreamt most when you were courting, when you were looking for your mchumba, ukiangalia mpoa, but that hasn't come to be. I know some of us as parents, we also worried for our children who have strayed away. Hawasikii, ndio wao kule nje, and it's not easy. And like I had mentioned, Some could be struggling with addictions. Najua tunajiuliza sasa huyu nilimtoa wapi na tunaenda wapi na yeye. Others, it would be mental health issues. The stigma that comes with mental health issues. When you hear that one of your loved ones is struggling, say, with depression, talk about bipolar or schizophrenia, there's a lot of shame that comes with it. Na tunaona hata wengine wanafungiwa kwa nyumba because we don't know how to deal with the situation. Some could have gone through losses that have kept them at bay. It could be the loss of a loved one. Some could have been diagnosed with some health issues. I know for us men, ukisikia mambo ya prostate cancer, it becomes a big deal because unajua sasa wanaume imefanya nini? Imegongwa. And you feel like you're no longer a man enough. Talk about the diabetes, the BP. Talk about issues to do with your cognitive. Wengine hata hatukumbuki. I know there are some others who could have gone through some miscarriage, and it is such a tall order, especially with expectations that were there. And the losses, they affect us in different ways. And when I think about all these causes, I'm being reminded that there will be some sort of a difference between the young and the old. And if I was to ask Mr. Waruinge back in the day, wakati alikuwa kijana barubaru, I know he could say that he had a lot of time on his hands and a lot of energy. But now, as years go by, you find that, yes, by then maybe money was an issue, but time and energy was in plenty. Today it's the other way. And you feel like, time is now a big factor and energy is still a big factor. And the other day, 2 weeks ago, I think most of you saw this. There's a young man called Patrick. Patrick, he succumbed to colon cancer. He was a good friend of mine. We shared the same dormitory, the same school back in high school. And I remember when he got diagnosed with colon cancer sometime last year, for him, he had a lot of zeal, a lot of energy, and all he could say that we are winning this battle. And of course, we supported him by all means possible. But as time went by, at first money was the issue because he had to go for the chemo, he had to take some medication, he had to, work on his diet. And I remember a month or so ago, it was no longer about the money. In fact, he was telling me, hata kama hauna pesa, nikaribie tu tuzungumze, we share about the memories, how it was before. Meaning that time was a big factor for him. And he was feeling that he didn't have much time. And I remember looking at the family, seeing how this it has impacted on them. It has actually changed the future plans that they had as a family and also for their son. And I couldn't, fail to empathize with them because it wasn't easy, especially to go through such a journey. And I could see them going through the various stages of loss and grief. From the shock and denial, the anger. They could also do a lot of bargaining, wakisema tunaweza mpeleka kule, ama tujaribu huku. At time, you see them that they have lost hope. They had fallen into depression. And what struck me most was the day before he passed on. And to me, it looked like he had gotten into acceptance because the posting that he had done, appreciating people who had been able to walk with him, it meant that he had made peace, with the journey. And I know most of us could be in such a space. It doesn't have to be such a condition. But I know there are some who have been diagnosed with some health issues. And for them, they live in denial. They don't want to accept. I know a friend of mine, Rachel, I think she's in the house, working in the VCT, the HTS department. At times, when the results are out, wengine hata wanapotea. Na wanasema hiyo results si ya nani? Si yao. And I know most of us could also be in the fear not to attend the medical camp ambayo tulikuwa nayo some time back, because for them, they don't want to get the reality of how their health status feels like. I've also seen a number, when they're about to retire and the letter is placed on the table, wengi wanapotea because they don't want to be in such a space comprehending what is happening. I've seen some who also get angry out of the outcome. And this affects how they relate with other people and also how they relate with themselves. Because it's one to relate with your friend, with your spouse, but it's another thing with how you relate with yourself. And when the war within takes charge, when the war within takes control, it's very hard for you to win the battle that you're facing. And this is why I always remind you of the African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, no enemy out there can do you harm. Some will say that life has actually lost taste. Hii maisha haina nini? Haina utamu. Wengine, even their relationship with their maker is highly affected. They no longer feel like coming to church because for them, they don't see the meaning, to come and praise, because they feel that yale yote ambao wanapitia should not be part of them. And I've seen some actually fall into depression. What am I saying? That these issues, these barriers that you're talking about, they come in different shades of color, shape, and they do affect people in different ways. And I know some of us may feel like life has actually come to a standstill. I know some of us have actually postponed their goals, their dreams, their careers to take care of their loved ones. And the last time that they practiced what they are good at, it was such a long time ago. I know some of us could be having parents who are ailing, ama pia wamekuwa wazee, wakongwe, and you know what happens with age. We get a bit slower. You see that even their brain has erased some memories, and there's nothing as painful as to visit your loved one, na nakuuliza ni wewe ni nani? Yet this is your mom or your dad. You find that they are low in energy, and we need to really support them to move out and about. I remember the other day, I was walking with a family, and they were telling me there's nothing as painful, as seeing your parent in diapers to keep them dry and comfortable. And you find that most of the people are not okay, and especially with such transitions. You find that the bond grows weaker, and at times it feels lonelier. You no longer enjoy the encounters that you had with your loved ones. And this is why I want to appreciate each and every one of us who might be in such a journey, going through such an encounter, because I know this drains the energy to the last bit. It is actually exhausting to be a caregiver. It's not easy to support a sibling who is going through some life issues. It's not easy to walk with your son, if not daughter, and nothing seems to get better. And you see, when all this happens, there's a lot of bitterness. Bitterness within, with also the people around us. There's also a lot of unforgiveness. And we feel like we can't let go. To some, there's a lot of self-blame, feeling like you're the cause of the issues that you're going through. I've also seen many with a lot of self-hate, feeling like they're not worthy. And the anger issues come to be. And some have some prolonged baggages. Wengine tumebeba mizigo mingi sana. And maybe where you are seated, you could move your shoulders up and down. Just try to move your shoulders up and down. Weka kichwa namna hii. Hiyo tumekata. Weka namna hii, kubali. Very nice. And I know some could be feeling a lot of weight on their shoulders, a lot of fatigue. Imeshikana kushikana. Why? Because of the many baggages that we are carrying, say in life, supporting all these loved ones. And this is why you find that a lot of the people out there, They'll feel stuck. Some actually have some fixed mindset, and they feel there's nothing good that can come out of this. And I keep wondering whether this is the reason why during the health camp that we had the other day, we had quite a number with heart issues. And it could be that most of us are struggling with something that we call the broken heart syndrome, where your heart has been weighed down due to the many issues that you are facing, the pain, the discouragement, and it is too much for you. And I know some of us will get to a place where they say, I really don't want to deal with that. As many will say. Or even seek some alternatives. Some going to Babua Roriondo. I remember msafara ulikuwa mrefu sana, because for them, they don't want to get into terms with the issues, the challenges that they are facing. I know some will also be looking for some alternatives. I know supplements are good, na sijakuja kupiga biashara yote. But some will say, I'll prefer taking the supplements rather than going to Dr. Nani Karanja. And you see, that is an alternative to the, you actually have to work together. So kama tuko na sukari, tukubali tupimwe nini? Sukari. Na kama unatumia ile wanaita nini? Glipita. Si ndio? Utumie hiyo. All right? And if you use the supplements, it's good, to make your body strong. Lakini tuache mambo ya kusway away without finding the true support and help that we need. And this is why you find that most of us tunashikwa, especially when you take your loved one to the hospital for some medical checkup. And when they are there taking their vitals, wakiangalia BP, ama pia their sugar levels, ukiambia upimo yako, wewe ulikuwa umepelekana, wewe ndio unacho wapi? Hospitali, mgonjwa, yeye ndiye anaenda nyumbani. And this is because we have done something that we call the self-neglect. We no longer regard our well-being. And this is why I want to remind you that it's very important for you and I to take care of ourselves. This is why we say that when we lose hope, despair sets in. And if you had watched the news the past 1 week, I remember they had mentioned that Nairobi City Funeral Home has been receiving 20 to 30 bodies every other weekend. And these are not people who have just succumbed to ordinary health issues, but they have died out of suicide. 20 to 30 bodies. Telling you that a majority of the people out there, they are at the verge of losing hope, giving up in life. This is why it's very important for us to remember that it's very important for you to take care of you. Because these numbers are not just numbers. These are family members, these are spouses, these are friends to people, and we really need to take care of ourselves. But the question would be, is it possible to prevent all this? Is it possible for us to overcome the barriers, the challenges that you are facing as a people? And as much as, yes, we say life is hard, it's also very important for you to say that it is possible. As much as, yes, life is challenging, it's also important for you to say it is possible. And as much as every other day we are facing new battles, talk about trust issues, health concerns, friendship, purpose, and survival, it's good that we get to appreciate the fact that hard does not mean hopeless. Hard means that you're still fighting. And the reason why you're seated there, it's because you didn't give up. And you're actually already a winner. And we say in the suffering, the old dies and the new is reborn. Hello? In the history of early settlers, we are told that in order for you to ascend, to go high, you must first descend. And this is why you and I, we need to go through the hero's journey, where we say it is okay for us to go through the darkness. It's okay for us to go through the challenges. Though I want to appreciate the fact that at times, many people are not able to come out of this particular ordeal. Some get lost in the pain, some get lost in the trauma, some get lost in the suffering, and also in the element of victimhood. But the only way to go through the ascent, for us to go high, for us to get okay, it's okay for us to appreciate the process. Because it's not even the end, but the person that you become in the process. So your true taste of resurrection, you can't actually taste true resurrection, until you taste death. And remember, Jesus Christ led by example. He had to die first for him to do what? To resurrect. So if you feel like things have gone wayward the other way, please don't quit. Don't run. Don't stop. You need to put your best foot forward so that you're able to come out of it better. And in case you're going through some issues and you have some scars, it's very important for you not to allow that to put you down, but you need to wear your scars with a lot of pride. And I believe that is why in the book of Psalms 23, we are reminded that though I walk in the shadows of death, I shall fear. And the valley, it's not the end. It's actually the passage that will help you to get to the higher place. So in case you are wondering, kama kuna some few tips, I'll give you just a few that will help you to ensure that you have a successful year 2025, that you're able to achieve your goals, your greatness, and being able to bring your foot forward. So number one, it's good that we get to appreciate how far we have come. Tuko mwezi wangapi? Has it been easy? Kuna wengine wangetaka kufika hapa, hawajaweza, si ndio? So we need to appreciate how far we have come, and more so the journey. And this is where we say that we need to celebrate our small wins, okay? So it's very important for you to ensure that you trust the process and celebrate every milestone, no matter how small it is. Number two, I know most of us will be aiming to be perfect, but to me, that should not be our worry. Aim for progress other than perfection. Because the way that you are wonderfully created. In the likeness of who? Of our Lord. So aim for progress and not perfection. Number three, choose that which is going to light you up. And this will be your friends, the places that you visit, anything that you engage in. Choose the one that will light you up. Number four, I suggest that you protect your energy like it is gold. Remember what we said about the energy vampires? It's very important for us to account for the friends that we keep. Audit your inner circle. Delegate where necessary, because I know at times taking care of our loved ones can be overwhelming. But if you're able to delegate this to your loved ones, msaidiane kama siblings, ama friends, it will be much, much easier. The other thing, it will be build real strength. Najua saa zingine napatana na Madam Irene na Baba Mwaneki, doing rounds around section 9. And if you want to know what real strength means, I would suggest after this, you have a handshake na nani? Bwana Mwaneki. Na utasikia vile inamaanisha to have some physical strength. That is very important. Why? Because when we build strong bodies, then our mind is actually unshakable. So work on you, and especially your physical body. The other thing, it will be, we need to aim for personal development. I always say that this is the only house that we live in, your body. And your mind, that is why you spend a lot of time in. So if you work on your mindset, if you build your inner self, then it will be very easy for you to be able to overcome some of these issues that we are talking about. The other thing, it will be, as we talk about next year, it's very important for you to start designing how you want your year to be like, year 2026. Early enough, and that will help you to avoid a lot of mistakes. The other thing, it will be nourishing your spirituality. And I always say that your spiritual life is very, very important, because that will give you life purpose. The reason why many people are giving up in life, it's because for them, spirituality imeenda chini. And this is why, for anybody who is going through addiction, if you want to support your brother, your loved ones who is struggling with addiction, work on their spirituality. That will help them to come out of it quicker, if not faster, within the best timeline. Number 9, it will be seek support if it overwhelms, and remember to practice self-care. The last one will be to identify your baggages, the barriers, and you let them go. Ile mizigo yote tuko nayo, uweze kuidentify na tufanye nini? Tuachilie. Ni sawa sawa. Najuga gutiri odo jogu. There is nothing elephant in this world. Let go. Ni sawa sawa. And as I call it a day, maybe you're out there and you may not be the wealthiest in your village. Perhaps you feel like you're not the most educated in your social circle. You could be feeling wewe si msupu kama wale wengine. Some could be feeling that they are not tall, dark, and handsome kama wale wengine. Or maybe you come from the weakest clan, if not feeling the less most important person in your family, like it happened to Gideon. If this is you, it's good that I get to remind you that we don't need 1,000 men to win the battle. Tunahitaji wangapi? 300. Ni sawa sawa. So you don't need to be well built for you to be able to survive. You don't need to have all those social status requirements for you to be able to win. And the Lord reminds us that you're going to do it because He is with you. Ni sawa sawa. Koguo mwanake oyo wiguaga atia kuma waiga mirigo thi. Mutumia oyo wiguaga atia kuma waiga mirigo thi. Wiguaga atia? O kugosha. And I think it's a good way to end the sermon. Mwanake oyo wiguaga atia kuma waiga mirigo thi.